So at this point, the United States government, in cahoots with insurgents and specialized armies of governments from Asia, Northern Asia, meaning Russia, the Middle East, Europe and Eastern Europe, as well as white militias and foreign cartels within the United States, have planned mass murder against the black people of the Western Hemisphere under the cover of so-called incoming racist attacks. Meanwhile, the United States government in Europe is poised to completely annihilate the black people of Haiti and the other islands throughout the West Indies under the auspices of humanitarian intervention. Again, your aim is to get rid of all of us. But what the wicked governments of the earth did not factor into their diabolical schemes is that we have arrived at the fulfillment of the prophecies regarding the wrath, not chastisement. That's a difference. The wrath of Almighty Allah. Psalms 110 states in part, "The Lord said unto my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. The Lord shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thy enemies." The Lord here is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Almighty Allah. And my Lord, whom he has set at his right hand, is the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And I am the rod sent forth from the face of the Lord to rule in the midst of his enemies. And this rule is the execution of Almighty Allah's great wrath. Now, the book of Micah in the Old Testament, for those who think they know the Bible, well, let me introduce you to a prophecy that you thought happened thousands of years ago, but that you will confront immediately after I finish this announcement. The book of Micah describes more details about the wrath of Almighty Allah, which you should be interested in at this point. It states, "And it shall come to pass in that day, which is this day, saith the Lord, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee. I will destroy thy chariots, and I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. Thy graven images will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands," meaning the worship of grand buildings, great structures. It continues, "And I will pluck up thy groves out of the midst of thee, so I will destroy thy cities, and I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard." Now the Quran, for those claiming to be Muslims, also prophesied of this day of God's wrath. It states, "By the mount, by a decree inscribed in a scroll unfolded, by the much frequented fane, by the canopy raised high, and by the ocean filled with swell. Verily, the doom of thy Lord will indeed come to pass. There is none can avert it. On the day when the firmament will be in dreadful commotion, and the mountains will fly hither and thither. Then woe that day to those that treat falsehood or truth as falsehood, that play and paddle in shallow trifles. That day shall they be thrust down to the fire of hell, irresistibly. This, it will be said, is the fire which you were wont to deny. Is this then a fake, or is it ye that do not see? Burn ye therein, the same is it to you whether ye bear it with patience or not. But ye receive the recompense of your own deeds." Now, as the watchman on the wall, me, watching over Almighty Allah's chosen people, my charge, the black people of the Western Hemisphere, I am invoking the divine wrath of Almighty Allah on the United States and on other wicked nations of the earth that's party to their conspiracy to destroy the black people of the Western Hemisphere. You will be seized by immensely destructive forces of nature. You can guarantee that much. Rain, hail, cold, heat, and earthquakes, the likes of which you have never seen, plus tornadoes and hurricanes, will descend upon this nation swiftly. And you will know that if you think that you are out of reach of God's wrath, you are crazy and you have been deceiving yourself. People march and ask you to pull back your evil. And you defy them, almost having two fingers up in our face, as if no one can cast you down and destroy you. Well, you will face the wrath of Almighty Allah as I stand here. I have asked him to bring down his wrath on this nation for your wickedness, and you will pay that price, because he will hear my voice. And when I come before you after this, it'll be more of the same. God will stricken you with his wrath until you exist no more.